Stop! You're not a procrastinator. You, like me, may procrastinate, but that doesn't make you a procrastinator. Procrastination is defined as delayed action, even if it will lead to negative consequences. Today, we're going to share with you my 3-step process that I use called APE that's helped me rein in the monster of procrastination. I procrastinated on everything imaginable. And every time I procrastinate, I always feel worse later on. I feel good in the moment, but I feel worse later on. Procrastination is a stress response. It's really stress relief. You're stressed in some aspect of your life, financial stress, marriage stress, work stress, kids stress. There's some kind of stress going on in your life that you're attempting to avoid. So procrastination is that stress relief and that avoidance of that stress. So we have to figure out what that stress is so that we can solve the problem, right? A lot of times when we're stressed, it overflows into other areas. So when I'm sitting on the couch watching Netflix continuously, why am I doing that? What am I avoiding? Why is that bringing me relief? I have to sit down and I got to think about that. I learned that procrastination's a response to a trigger. And that response brings a reward, right? We just spoke about that. Stress is the trigger. My response is avoidance. And my reward is I feel good in the moment because I'm not thinking about that thing that I'm stressed about. Funny thing is, that sounds very much like a habit, doesn't it? What's a habit? A habit has a cue, a response, and a reward. Procrastination is just a habit. It's something that we've learned. And we've learned it because we get that good feeling of forgetting about that stress response that we're having. So just like a habit has a trigger, a response, and a reward, procrastination's trigger is the stress. The avoidance is our response to that trigger. And the reward is we don't feel the stress. There's a little bit of stress relief there because I'm off watching Netflix or I'm doing something else that's easier than facing that stress. How do I attack procrastination? So the actual technique I use, I named APE. APE stands for awareness, pattern interruption, and exercise. Now, it's not true exercise, but I couldn't find another letter that actually meant get up and move. So I become aware that I'm procrastinating, right? I become aware that I'm laying on the couch when I should be paying my taxes. I become aware that I'm cleaning the house when I should be outside building the shed, or outside splitting the wood, or outside mowing the lawn. Essentially, I become aware that I'm avoiding a certain task, and typically I'm doing something that's easier. And in that awareness, and this is a very key point, I don't beat myself up. In that awareness, I forgive myself. Because we're all human. We're just trying to feel good in the moment. We want that happiness. We want that joy. So I forgive myself for performing the avoidance. Then we go into pattern interrupt. Your pattern interrupt can be anything, right? Mel Robbins uses 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take the action. Some people use 3, 2, 1. Take the action. Some people have a mantra. My mantra, not on my watch. Sometimes you can use your mantra across different areas, right? Not on my watch is my mantra for when I feel fear. But I can also use it for procrastination. Combative arts. I do combative arts, and we do gun disarms, hand-to-hand disarms. We do disarms, but we start everything with, hey man, whatever you want. That's a pattern interrupt to the person that's attacking me, right? It's a pattern interrupt. And with the pattern, the reason for the pattern interrupt, the purpose of the pattern interrupt is when we're doing that avoidance, when we're in procrastination, we're being led by our emotional self, not our logical self. We're operating more from the limbic state or section of our brain than we are from the prefrontal cortex. So that pattern interrupt stops the emotional response and starts bringing us into the prefrontal cortex. That's why we're using words, whether that's the mantra, whether that's, hey man, whatever you want, or it's counting. We're transitioning from the limbic to the prefrontal so that we could start applying logic to this now. And then the E, which I label exercise. Exercise just simply means get up and move. Now, you can literally get up and do some exercises. I've done that before. I've got up and I've done a couple of squats or a couple of push-ups, a couple of jumping jacks. I've done jumping jacks before. But move the body. When Newton's law, right? An object in motion tends to stay in motion. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. So I'm getting up and I'm creating energy. Motion creates that energy. So I'm getting up and I'm doing one of two things. I'm physically doing an exercise to kind of shake myself out of the brain fog or trance that I'm in. Or I'm getting up and I'm physically taking an action towards my avoidance. Whatever it is that I'm avoiding. I am avoiding or procrastinating splitting wood. I'm pushing that down. I'm pushing it out further and further and further. The wood got delivered. I have to go out there. I have to cut it up and I have to split it. So now I'm aware of this. I don't beat myself up. I forgive myself for pushing it off so long. The pattern interrupt. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like Mel does. You want to shorten that to 3, 2, 1. Hey man, whatever you want. Not on my watch. Your pattern interrupt so that I can move from the emotional state of avoidance into the logical state of actually taking action, moving into taking action, or the E, the exercise. Now for this, how I handled splitting wood, I actually got up, I walked over to my laptop, and I physically put on my Google Calendar, I physically put on there, splitting wood, Monday afternoon, 1 p.m. I put right on my calendar, I assigned that splitting wood. That did a couple of things for me. One, I'm not avoiding splitting wood anymore. I'm not procrastinating on it. It has its assigned time. I kept pushing it off because 2 months ago I said, I got till October. I really don't, because you have to split it early so that it dries, so that you can use it in November. But that's this kind of the system I use, right? Now that I have it assigned on my calendar, it will get done. I'm not going to push it off anymore. And what that did was it relieved my brain of thinking about it. Now I'm not stressed about I have to split wood. I'm not stressed. Like, I don't even think about it now. It's been 5 days. I haven't thought about it because I gave it its due respect. I put it on my calendar. That's where it is. So going over this, procrastination is just purely a stress relief. It's avoidance because you're stressed about something. The other way of attacking procrastination is, at least that I've found in my life, the other way I've avoided procrastination is that I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, the other way I relieved my procrastination is, remember that procrastination is stress relief? I become more mindful. When I am practicing meditation on a very consistent basis, when I'm spending a lot of time out in nature, that's how I bring myself peace and calmness. Lots of hikes in the woods, looking out over the town and seeing that vista. This brings me peace and calmness. When I'm doing a lot of that, I'm a lot less stressed over the things that have to get done. I actually get more stuff done. It's kind of like that Newton's law, an object in motion tends to stay in motion. If you want something done, give it to a busy person. You give it to a busy person because they just keep moving. They just keep getting shit done. When I'm in a much more relaxed state, I don't procrastinate as much. Dan Sullivan says that you have to have days that you just do nothing, that days just for yourself, to hit the reset button. The harder and more intense you work, the more days you have to take for yourself. Are you taking those reset days? Those reset days allow you to relax. Those reset days allow you to reduce the stress that you have. It sounds like an oxymoron. It sounds like opposite, right? How can I slow down to go faster? But it really is true. And when I'm doing that, I don't procrastinate as much. So that's another way that I take care of my procrastination. I take care of my procrastination. When I'm in heavy procrastination and I become aware of that, in the moment, I do APE so that I can take action on that. But then I ask myself, am I like really overstressed about something? And I start doing more self-care. And for me, that's meditation. That's spending time out in nature. So what's that for you? You just have to figure that out for yourself. What brings you peace and calmness? Practice APE. Become aware. Forgive yourself. Your pattern interrupt so that you can move from your limbic to your prefrontal cortex and then actually get up and move. Put it on the calendar. Assign it a date and time. Take one small action towards whatever the big action, the big goal is that you want to achieve. Guys, around here we believe in living up here in the numerator, not down in the denominator. Go out there and be unstoppable and absolutely crush your day. Love spending time with you guys. Have a blessed day.